Good day, everyone, and welcome to the Casper Association Community Call, hosted and run by the Casper Association. On this week's call, we will discuss our recent partnership with Credentia. Today, we're joined by Ralph, Piotr, Meda, Ashok from Casper Labs, and Stefan Gershani from Credentia. Thanks for joining us, Stefan. Today, we will also open up for a Q&A at the end of the call, and you can leave your questions for us in the YouTube live comments here or on our Telegram channel, and we will try our best to answer those. Thanks everyone for joining in today, and handing it off to you, Ralph.
Well, thanks a lot. Welcome on behalf of the association. As a board member, I'd like to address two items that have come up many times. So one is we're excited, and Piotr will talk about it in more detail, that we have completed several upgrades in the past several weeks, proving essentially what we have set out to do, meaning that we are providing technical infrastructure that can be upgraded with relative ease and for the community to follow as well. And secondly, in the community and obviously in all channels, whether they're official or not, there were a lot of questions around circulating supply. Casper Association has worked with the leading providers of information in this environment, and we have basically adhered to the definition that are provided by these, I would say, centralized information providers. And we have put out a statement and communication on Medium on our blog with respect to the exact number of circulating supply, including a clear chart of the split up and the volumes that have been allocated to individual buckets. Again, this Medium article is freely available. It's accessible for everyone, and it can be found on our blog post on Medium, and it was put out 5 days ago, which was June 3rd. If you have any questions, you can post those today here as well. Otherwise, we will just provide also the link. You can inform yourself. In addition to that, there has been an API provided, and this API, I believe, is also linked in the article. That is all from my side, from the association.
Thank you very much, Ralph. And now let's jump straight into the technical updates. So our weekly portion of information about the current status on the Casper network. So this is the public document that I'm editing on a weekly basis, where you can see in details what is the current state, what we are working on, and what are the near future plans for the team. So as we speak, we are wrapping up the 4th weekly sprint of the 3rd major upgrade for the Casper protocol. That means that we are closing this release cycle and preparing ourselves for extensive tests, and then 2 final steps. So first is to upgrade the testnet, and the final step is to upgrade the Casper network, which is our mainnet. When we look at the dates, we can see clearly that as of now, we are in the phase of internal tests. These tests will let us to produce and generate the release candidate that will be handed over to the testnet. That should happen by the end of this month, the end of June. And what will follow is the Casper upgrade that should happen. As for now, we assume that it will happen in the 1st week of July. Previously, we released already 1.2 with the release changes that you can see right here. And that was also followed by several releases. So 1.2 followed the several releases before, starting with some small updates on the security side. Then we went through 1.1, ended up with 1.2. As for the exact dates, 1.2 has been cut on 13th of May 2021, and that followed the upgrade of the testnet. 19th of May, and the mainnet has been successfully upgraded as of 28th of May. As for the current stats on the network, the best is to check them live on the Casper.live. So you see here, let me just refresh the page, that we are about to hit 90,000 blocks. In terms of the block height, we have currently 83 of active validators, and with over 3.5 billion CSPR tokens staked and bonded. Here, what is very interesting, you can also switch to testnet, so you will see the stats for our testnet network, where we have more validators. Also, we are, let's say, hitting the limit here with over 900 bits as well. Going back to the details, our current focus is to deliver the 1.3 release, so the third major upgrade. On the highway, so on the protocol part, we are still working on CEP 48, which is the new synchronizer design, as well as some proof of concept implementations for this part of the system. I will talk a little bit more about CEPs later on. On the node side, we have some tasks to be accomplished for 1.3, namely to introduce the namespaces for the different networks that we are dealing with, and we are also enhancing the deploy acceptor to validate the associated keys. Test and SRE is growing, so we have 2 new SRE members on board, and they are all together working to support the network and the release process. We are also actively developing NCTL, which is our internal testing tool. Ecosystem has seen a lot of changes and new releases past week, especially the signer. So I invite you to download and try the extension for yourself. It's available at the Google Chrome store, and we updated this on 4th of June when we reintroduced the imported feature for the accounts, and your feedback is very much welcome. So we are actively looking and monitoring the Zoom, Telegram and the Discord channels, getting your feedback and trying to build a small roadmap for the signer here as well. And if you are with the GitHub account, don't hesitate to hit directly one of our orgs. So either Casper Network or Casper Ecosystem. These organizations are for you. You can check on the projects there. If you are looking for JS SDK, Golang SDK, or Signer, it is available here. We can also use the issues panel to directly interact with us and submit new feature requests or bug reports. For JS SDK this week, or at most the next week, we will close the PR for with 1.5 release. You have the release notes available in the PR, so you can see the list of changes, and you are still very much welcome to join the conversation and help us to build the even better SDK for the future. On the contract run, I forgot to mention that both contract runtime and Casper Signer, we have the list of one-stop audit items that we are addressing. We plan to finish most of them in the following week or two, so that should close this stage with a final word. Let's move to economics research. Alexander, are you with us?
Yes, so work continues on re-implementing and improving gas cost accounting. And additionally, I am assisting BidGo with some gas cost estimates this week.
Great. I'm just, as we speak, I'm just promoting Wolf to panelists because it's time for the DevX DAO updates. So as I promised last time, I included now into our current status notes the link to the main page of DevXDAO organization. Please check them out. There is also a community call right after our community call, and there is also the link for this event. Wolf, would you be able to provide the fresh news from your side? I believe that Wolf has some connectivity issues. So with that, let's move on. I mentioned about CEPs. So let's go right to this repository. So CEPs or Casper enhancement proposals. These are our ideas how to change the network, how to change the system, and do this in a structured way and approach. So what you can see here, every major change that is proposed internally or externally is going through this review process. For instance, and this is both for core team, for core features and the ecosystem. So here, for instance, you have CEP47, very active proposal for NFT protocol based on unique capabilities that are embedded into Casper platform. You can see also the mentioned before synchronizer. So we are trying to make it transparent, and also this will be wrapped up with a modern governance process. So altogether, we'll be able to decide how to shape the Casper platform in the future. I'm strongly encouraging you to check this out. This is a public repository, so you can also be part of the proposers. You can also go with your proposals. So we are prepared for that. If you would like to see what is the template for this, just go here and check the template. If you have an idea, you're very much welcome to create your own and talk to our team in order to discuss your thoughts. Okay, I'm just checking if I did not miss anything here. So yes, we have also Casper Roadmap, our project where we visualize the items that we are working on. So you see that there is a slight change. So after 1.3, so the third major upgrade, we are changing and enhancing our release process. So then we will switch to quarterly releases. And as for now, we are defining the scope for Q3. This will also mean that the team will be working with different cadence. We'll be providing more updates about this cycle and process in the upcoming weeks. With that, I think that I can get back to the presentation. So as for now, Stefan, if you could introduce yourself, and I will turn on the first slide.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. So my name is Stefan Gilshuni. I'm founder of Credentia, and what we do, we work on building digital identities and digital credentials. It is something that is called self-sovereign identity technology, and the goal of this technology is really to provide universally recognized interoperable system for digital identity and exchange of authenticated data. So you can think of this area as very related to blockchain. However, it is a bit separate in terms of it can work from any ASS application can work across multiple blockchains. You don't need a separate bridge. You don't need a separate hub or any kind of connection. And it provides, it does not provide value transfer. So it's not for things like DeFi or NFT exchanges. However, it has a quite significant, actually quite gigantic market. So self-sovereign identity really can solve very big problems for a lot of people, and it can reach much larger potential markets than just pure blockchain or cryptocurrency or DeFi use cases. So for example, you can think of any digital or any really physical document or any data that is stored in centralized database today. And the problem is that it is expensive. It is there's always a privacy compromise. So if you let Google, Facebook, or some government database or some company or e-commerce website to store your personal data, you cannot really control it. So if it gets stolen, you might never know about it. With digital identity, you're always in control. So you have your Casper network address, you have your private key, it controls your decentralized identifier, and you always in control of who you share your data with and how long that data is accessible. So the number of use cases, it is really quite large, and we see a lot of adoption in this. So for example, there's a lot of government initiatives that are trying to implement self-sovereign identity technology and decentralized identifiers to create digital national IDs, digital passports, or digital driving licenses. And there's real products or pilots today working in Canada, in Australia, in the United States. And just recently, just this week, actually last week, there was an announcement by Euro Commission for digital identity framework, European digital identity framework, which is actually based on this technology. They explicitly have self-sovereign identity in the documentation. There's a lot of projects, a lot of companies, a lot of different open source initiatives involved in this. So you can, companies like Microsoft and IBM building SSI tools, as well as many startups. What we focused mostly, or what we started with, was educational credentials. So we enabled universities and online education platforms, colleges, schools to issue digital credentials, digital educational credentials. However, quite quickly realized that there's many more applications. Right now, one of the hottest topics is COVID credentials, like vaccination records or PCR tests. So having it always in the paper format, it is not very convenient, not very scalable, it is very expensive. On the other hand, we have a problem of people don't want to really share the information. They're worried about privacy issues, worried about control and blocking access, or basically giving up some freedom. So decentralized identity technology is one of the ideal solutions here, because it provides all the benefits of digital world, but it's much cheaper to issue and sign a digital document. Digital signature is much more secure than a physical one. You can always track audit trail. And on the other hand, it preserves all the privacy properties of physical documents, like your passport. With digital verifiable credential, you can always choose who you share it with. You don't need to store that data on anybody else's computer. And you only use blockchain to validate if that document is authentic, if it was not revoked, and the identity of the issuer. Here's where the partnership comes between Credential and Casper Network. What we're doing is building framework for developers. So we are enabling our own use cases, and specifically in education, but we're also building tools for any external developer. So anyone who wants to build digital document exchange or digital credential system on top of Casper, we're working on creating a framework and open source tools for people to create decentralized identifiers, to keep registries of the issuers, to create schemas and standards for those digital documents, to keep revocation registries. So this aims to both increase adoption of Casper Network, as well as verifiable credentials, but it also provides users of the network ability to go beyond just value transfer use cases, so be beyond financial use cases, and it can be anything from, as I said, education or finance or healthcare or B2B document exchange. Thank you for this opportunity, and really excited about this partnership.
Great, Stefan. Thank you very much for this great summary. So how the community can learn more and try to cooperate with you on this project? As you said, that the toolset will be available as open source set of of the toolset.
Yeah, so this work is just starting. So we're working with the DevXDAO right now on building that. To learn more, I would suggest, so first of all, you can go on just credential.me website. But to learn more about self-sovereign identity in general, I think this is one of those very open industries, kind of like DeFi. You don't need to work directly with one company because of the interoperability of the standards. You can, as a developer, you can always contribute to existing ecosystem or build something on top of that. And what I highly recommend is to start with Decentralized Identity Foundation and probably Community Credentials Group at W3C. So those are two organizations that govern a lot of what's happening, and those are fully open, non-profit organizations that create standards, and they have a lot of materials to learn about use cases or specific technologies, and also to understand how to create or build your own product on top of that.
This sounds great. I see that we have one question from Wolf to you.
Hey guys, thank you. So Stefan, thank you. You pitched the DAO yesterday, and I see this here in a fully fledged deck as well. Thank you for this. Can you help us understand how would your system use DAO reputation scores to create identities, self-sovereign identity?
Yeah, so I can tell from not from product standpoint, because it's not a built and production ready product right now, but I can explain the idea of how persistent digital lifelong reputation can be built using self-sovereign identity. So it starts with identifier. Each customer, each person or organization, or even device, I think, can have its own unique digital identifier, and then other people or other organizations can issue and sign some facts about your identity. So for example, you want to create your reputation as an engineer, as a developer. You can go to GitHub, and GitHub can sign a verifiable credential stating that you have X number of commits or pull requests or comments or what have you. You can go to Udemy, and Udemy can sign you a verifiable credential saying that you successfully completed this course. You can go to your peer, or they can initiate and issue you a credential saying that that they enjoyed working with you. So basically, kind of like LinkedIn, but the problem is LinkedIn, anyone can command anyone else, and it's not verifiable really. With verifiable credentials, it is kind of like your resume. It can be professional, it can be maybe your artist resume, it can be your personal interest, hobby, or maybe reputation within the DAO. But the key difference, it is actually two key differences. First of all, it is decentralized. So the reputation does not depend on any single database. It's not LinkedIn, it's not Microsoft, it's not Udemy. It is a distributed network, and it all happens in fully peer-to-peer manner. And second, all data is validated, so you can trace each commendation or each reputation event back to its source. And you can actually, as a verifier, you can then set up rules. So for example, when I'm looking to hire a new engineer, I want to check their credentials from GitHub, Udemy, and their previous employers, but I'm not interested in credential from their friend because I don't know. I'm not ready to trust that person, for example, to make my hiring decision. So that's kind of rough description. There's a lot of different reputation focused projects built on SSI, and I actually have an article just describing that. But I think it's still not fully in production with DAOs in general. So I think this is one important problem to solve for decentralized autonomous organizations, to fight Sybil attacks, to fight fraud, and to motivate, incentivize people to actually stick with their identities and build up reputation. But we're just starting. It will be a quite long journey.
Great. So if this will go well, DevDAO will adopt some of these elements on the identity side.
So is this to me? Sorry.
Yes, I think yes.
So the scores in the DAO, they are a form of identity, right? They're not anonymized at this point, but as we're working through these systems, it is theoretically conceivable that DAO governance scores become a form of identity, right? So you will have these scores in different DAOs, and we can already see the writing on the wall at this point. And so that the DAO scores are generated in a more decentralized fashion, and if you aggregate them, they could become an identity in these systems. It's just a question of how they interact with Stefan's solution, and I would love to talk about this more. We don't have to do it on this call.
Great.
Yeah,
Yes.
maybe just to add one. I think one important piece to it. So why I think self-sovereign identity is such a powerful technology and standard. One is that it is becoming quite widely adopted, and there's a lot of big companies building tools on that, and even governments, as I mentioned. But more importantly, it creates this standard for transitivity of trust. So to decipher this a little bit, you can actually we can expect to have more decentralized autonomous organizations and more just decentralized systems in general built on top of ledgers and blockchains. If we want to combine those reputation scores, so for example, I have my score in Augur, in DevXDAO, in Gitcoin, somewhere else, and I want to present a combined proof of my reputation, of my activity in different DAOs, we need some kind of shared standard. And this is why having organizations like Worldwide Consortium or DIF and large companies like IBM and Microsoft promoting that helps a lot, because we need to converge on a shared standard. And same with government documents. If I want to have my driving license issued in Germany to be verified in the United States, and if it all happens in digital form and with digital identities and digital signatures, I definitely need to have it built on a widely spread standard.
Stefan, if I could just ask in this context, so the way I think a lot of people in the DAO would look at this as the shared standard is the way these scores are calculated, right? When you say shared standards, what is your take on that?
Yeah, so it is actually a stack of standards, and I don't want to maybe bore people who are not very technical, but I think it's a great question, and the quick answer is that there's at least three layers of these standards. First one is digital identifiers. So how do you resolve digital identifier across blockchain? So I can have my DID on Bitcoin, you can have yours on Casper network, and there's another one which is just doesn't use blockchain, which is maybe government issued using centralized authority system. Then the second layer is verifiable credentials. So how do I standardize the data format? And to do that, in SSI, we use something called linked data, and that's also part of the semantic web movement. And that allows different machines, different programs to understand the meaning of the data. And then on top of that, the last layer is governance framework. And that is, I think, what you're referring to. So that describes how a specific, what process do I need to go to get through to get a specific credential issued? What is the formula that my score is calculated? Who is making the decision? Who reviewed this algorithm? And basically allows people to trust this system.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I would really want to invite you to talk to the DAO again. I think this is very, very valuable. Thank you.
Yeah, I would love to, of course. Thank you, Wolf.
Great. I need to look at our agenda, and with that, we would need to close this part of the conversation. Joe, Do we have any questions from the community?
No, we have no questions for the community that have not already been addressed in the comment section. So if anybody has any questions for Casper Labs or Credentia about the partnership, please let us know and we'll get to those.
Great. And in the meantime, I see that Timothy joined us. Timothy, are you? 1 second. Are you with us?
I can speak now.
Right. Okay. So if we could ask on some of the updates on DevXDAO, that would be really nice.
Yeah, that's good. Now, things are going great. Again, this is a Tuesday, so we do have our Tuesday meetings as well. Post this, the link is there provided. But we're processing grants, and that's the bulk of our job right now. So things that people are applying. Credentia actually has gone through that application process and gone through that process. We're seeing very interesting things come up. We're trying to be effective and expedient about processing all of those while executing on our reputation system to do so. So things are operating quickly and fun, and I think communities are emerging, learning how to use, learning how to apply for grants. We're getting some of our grants, our first grants that will be completing their milestones. So we'll get some of our kind of first, second generation voters very shortly. I think in the next couple of weeks, we'll start having some new folks that are going to be part of the voting process, which is great. So yeah, everything's going along very, very well. You all heard from Wolf here earlier. Wolf leads the MVPR reputation scoring and system for the DAO, and so come join us in any conversation that you'd like to have. It's at DevXDAO on Telegram or devxdao.com. But we're always happy to hear about anything that's going on. We're going to announce some kind of broader ecosystem grants over the next couple of weeks. Some just to different open source communities that we're very excited to support. Just got off the phone actually moments ago with the founder of Homebrew. So super excited about some of the stuff and work that's going on over there. But yeah, looking forward to the continued submissions. If you're looking for grants, open source grants for the ecosystem, Casper and Decentralized development, join us at devxdao.com or on our Telegram chat. And then on Tuesdays, we have our broad community calls, which start at 7 p.m. CEST, which is about 20 minutes from now. And then on Fridays, we have a great grant workshop where we have people go through and go through the application process. So that's it.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. Joe, up to you.
Do we have any questions from anybody? Going once, going twice? If not, we can wrap the call up. What do you guys think?
I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Stefan, for joining us this week. It's a pleasure to have you on. Thank you to all of our community that joined in to watch us and listen to us live here. We'll see you again next Tuesday. Please like and subscribe if you want to, and thanks for watching, joining, and listening.